What role does the Philippines play in the US-China rivalry? One of the most important challenges facing the world today is the rivalry between the US and China, which is gaining momentum with the growing ambitions and aspirations of the Chinese leadership. The Chinese have recognized that the current international system is not conducive to their development and that they need to either dismantle it, or at least change it, to suit their own interests. To this end, they are using their economic, military, and diplomatic power to expand their sphere of influence and shape the new world order. The Asia-South China Sea region is becoming an increasingly important battleground, where China seeks to assert its hegemony and undermine US alliances with other Asian states. The US, in turn, seeks to maintain its presence and influence in the region by promoting international cooperation. This rivalry has major implications for global security and stability, as well as for the economic and social development of many countries. Why is the Philippines important? The Philippines is a country that has gained economic prominence in recent years, thanks to its rapid development and excellent demographics. Its GDP is growing at more than 6% a year, one of the best in the region. The Philippines also has a young and growing population, representing a potential workforce and large sales market. The country is committed to innovation, education, and international cooperation, resulting in improved quality of life and competitiveness. The Philippines is a country at the center of tensions between China and the United States, the world's two largest powers. These tensions stem from their differing interests and objectives in the Asia-Pacific region, which is seen as crucial to global stability and development. One of the main sources of conflict is the South China Sea, which is rich in natural resources and strategically important for trade and maritime security. China claims almost all of the sea, which is disputed by other littoral states, including the Philippines. The United States supports freedom of navigation and adherence to international law in this body of water, and supports its allies and partners in the region. The Philippines is one of the United States' oldest and closest allies in Asia, with which it has a 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty and a 2014 Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. These agreements allow for the presence and cooperation of U.S. military forces on Philippine territory to deter potential aggression from China or other threats. Another factor influencing the importance of the Philippines in the Sino-US rivalry is its geographical location in relation to Taiwan, which is recognized by China as an integral part of its territory and by the US as an important democratic partner. Taiwan is about 250 kilometers off the coast of the Philippines, which means that a possible Chinese military intervention on the island could affect the security and interests of the Philippines. The US does not have a formal defense alliance with Taiwan, but has pledged to provide it with defense capabilities and assistance in the event of a Chinese threat. As such, the Philippines can act as a buffer or bridge between China and the United States or its allies in the region. The Philippines has a long and complex history of relations with China and the United States, which shapes its role in the current rivalry between the two powers. The Philippines was a Spanish colony from the 16th century until 1898, when it was taken over by the U.S. following the Spanish-American War. In the same year, the Filipinos declared their independence and fought the Philippine-American War, which ended with the submission of the Philippines to the U.S. administration. In 1935, the Philippines gained Commonwealth status, and in 1946, full independence. During the Second World War, the Philippines was invaded and occupied by Japan, and later liberated by the Allies under General Douglas MacArthur. After the war, the Philippines maintained close ties with the United States as an ally in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the Pacific Security Treaty. During the 1960s and 1970s, the Philippines was also involved in regional conflicts such as the Brunei Rebellion and the Vietnam War. Tensions are rising between China and the Philippines over disputed islands in the South China Sea. Both sides claim territories that are rich in natural resources and strategic for trade. There have been several incidents in recent time that have exacerbated the situation. Chinese fishing vessels blocked Philippine boats from entering Whitsun Reef, prompting protests from Manila. Chinese military aircraft violated Philippine airspace over the island of T2, prompting a warning from the Philippine Defense Forces. Chinese Coast Guard fired water cannons at a Philippine patrol boat near Scarborough Island, forcing it to retreat. Such incidents worsen relations between the two countries and increase the risk of conflict escalation. The Philippines is a country with little military capability, especially compared to China. According to the 2021 Global Firepower Ranking, the Philippines ranks 48th in the world in terms of military strength, while China ranks second, behind the United States. The Philippines has around 140,000 troops, while China has over 2 million. The Philippines also has a much smaller arsenal of weapons and military equipment such as tanks, aircraft, ships, and ballistic missiles. China also has a technological and economic advantage over the Philippines, allowing it to develop and modernize its military. As a result, the Philippines is at a significant disadvantage in the event of a potential military conflict with China. The joint U.S.-Philippine military exercise aims to improve the defense capabilities of both countries in the face of rising tensions with China in the region. The exercises focus on simulating crisis scenarios such as terrorist attacks, natural disasters, and armed conflicts at sea. The aim is to improve cooperation and interoperability between the allies, as well as to show solidarity against China's construction of artificial islands with military facilities. In this context, the Philippines faces a number of challenges that require a deft balancing act between the two superpowers. One challenge is the modernization of the Philippines' aging fleet. This fleet consists mainly of World War II and Cold War-era vessels that are unable to effectively defend Philippine interests in disputed waters. The Philippines needs modern warships, patrol aircraft, and anti-missile systems to deal with China's growing presence and aggression in the South China Sea. The Philippines is seeking to acquire military equipment from the U.S., but faces budgetary and political constraints. The U.S. offers military assistance and arms sales to the Philippines, but often on the condition of cooperation and participation in regional initiatives such as Quad, an alliance between the U.S., Japan, India, and Australia, or freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea. However, the Philippines does not want to confront China for fear of losing economic and political benefits. The Philippines is also trying to engage with other countries in the region, such as Japan, Australia, India, and Vietnam, to gain support and access to military technology. However, these countries also have their own interests and constraints that may not match the Philippines' expectations. In addition, the Philippines must contend with public opinion and civil society, which may oppose increasing defense spending or exposing the country to the risk of conflict. The Philippines therefore faces the difficult task of modernizing its navy in the context of Chinese and U.S. rivalry. The Philippines must find a way to balance its national interests with regional and global interests, while maintaining autonomy and sovereignty in decision-making. Thank you for watching the video. Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. See you next video.